We are always thinking about new travels and experiences. Even during our holiday in Mauritius, we stumbled upon a captivating picture of a majestic tiger. Instantly captivated, our hearts yearned for more. And so, a thrilling new quest took shape. Catch a glimpse of this magnificent creature. We discovered the origin of that photo, India. Determined to immerse ourselves in the captivating realm of Indian wildlife safari, we reached out to local agencies in search of tailor-made experiences, free from the confines of mainstream touristic packages. Carefully curating our journey, we handpicked diverse local agencies. Amongst the myriad options, one stood out, leaving a good first impression on us. After a series of eager exchanges, we finally obtained our personalized itinerary. Crafting this bespoke plan proved to be an arduous task, as most agencies relentlessly push standard packages for tourists. But fear not, for those who dare to inquire, a myriad of alternative possibilities await, be it traversing the land by train, or soaring through the skies in an airplane. Because of the distance, compared to our country is huge, we had to accept a compromise and focus on a smaller region. This was our final choice. There was a heavy fog blanketing Delhi when we finally arrived. Perhaps it was just because we were exhausted, but it was pretty chilly outside. We slept for only a few hours in the first hotel after a lengthy passport control. The following day was the start of our tour. To Jaipur we went, driven by our driver. It's noisy and crowded in the city due to all the cars. There are a lot of cows, people, bikes, and cars crossing the street, so it seems very chaotic. The constant honking of horns was really irritating. We toured the various halls of City Palace with the help of our guide. We had our first taste of masala tea while watching the sunset on a terrace and were instantly hooked. We went to the Hawa Mahal and the Amber Fort the following day. The second location was accessible by foot or elephant. Because we care for the animals, we went with the first choice. It's time to head back to the car and move on. After a lengthy trip, we were nearly there, but there was one last hiccup: the driver couldn't find the hotel. He pulled out a smartphone and started to explain how close it was, but he had no access to the internet. We looked at a map, too, and managed to locate the hotel in the pitch black. We were concerned about the cold weather when we learned at reception that dinner would be served outside on the terrace that evening. And indeed it was cold. The following day, we were prepared to go for our first visit to a wildlife park. We were eager to see the tiger and hoped we would. There were a lot of deer and antelopes around. The monkey's alarm call was a good indicator that a predator was close by, so we paused to investigate. Nothing. For lunch, we returned to the hotel. The afternoon was the same, only in a different section of the park. Even so, there were no tigers to be found there. We had a good night's sleep and a delicious breakfast before continuing on to Agra. Upon our late afternoon arrival in Agra, we wasted no time in making our way to the Agra fort. We requested a short visit due to our exhaustion. The building was fascinating and packed with historical details. The next day, we went to see the Taj Mahal before it got crowded with tourists. We had a great time. From there, we took the train to Jhansi, where our driver was ready to take us to Khajuraho. We check into our Khajuraho hotel late in the day and opt for a little nap. After a quick workout and a refreshing shower, we get dressed up and head out for a drink. We arrive at the restaurant for the gala dinner at 8 p.m., only to learn that you need a stamp from the front desk in order to enter. The dining room has huge round tables and is accessible via the buffet area. We are in a pair and are unsure about where to sit, so we inquire. The buffet is not ready yet. The dinner has finally started. We start enjoying our bottle of champagne that Swiss provided for us during the flight. Nearing the stroke of midnight, they make the announcement that the bar will soon be closing. We ask for a glass of champagne, but we discover that they have no sparkling wine at all. Just beer or spirits. Weird and slightly ashamed, we headed back to the room. We get up at 8:30 a.m. and walk downstairs for breakfast. Then we proceeded to see Kamasutra's temple. Although many of the sculptures have been ruined, many remain beautifully defined. Many people in the park are staring at us with interest. They are less accustomed to seeing European tourists in this section of the country. They ask us to take photos together, and their interested and smiling eyes make us agree. It's exciting to experience these surreal moments. When we get back to the hotel about 12:30 p.m., we decide to go to the gym. We spent the afternoon in the room to relax in view of the light and sound show at the temple we visited in the morning. The 45-minute presentation tells the story of the temple, with lights illuminating the many temples. It was lovely at first, but it quickly became repetitive and a little boring. A fresh day and a new adventure. We go for Bandhavgarh after breakfast. The travel takes approximately 5 hours. We stop along the way to drink tea in a kind of roadside bar. We arrive at the lodge in the late afternoon, and they greet us with a warm towel and a cup of tea. Lunch is ready at 3 p.m. The initial impression of the lodge was really positive. We go for a brief walk at Lodge Park. There is no one around and it is really quiet. A little workout before dinner puts us one step closer to the conclusion of the day. They accommodate us in front of the fire before dinner. Fatigue, tiredness, and the season's humidity make us feel quite cold. When we return to the room, we are surprised to find it heated. When we pull the blankets, we discover 2 heaters. It was a very appreciated touch that warmed our night and our clothes for the next day. At 5 a.m. we hear a knock at the door. They have arrived to wake us up. We start getting ready and go to the lobby for tea and cookies. At 6:30 a.m. we leave. They pack us a bag with the breakfast we will have during the safari. Compared to the other 2 safaris, this one is private. We are in the Tala area. It is quite overcast and the sun is not visible all morning. We ride around a lot, but of the tigers we only see the footprints. There are several jeeps in the park that we occasionally encounter. No one knows exactly where they might be. The feeling of freedom and carefreeness that the forest gives us is indescribable. Along with a mix of other emotions and feelings, such as curiosity, excitement, and sadness. Compared to the safari in Africa a few years ago, it is very different because the variety of animals is definitely less and the density of vegetation is much more important. It is therefore more difficult to see the animals. The guide and driver set up the hood of the jeep for us for breakfast. Hard-boiled eggs, bread, muffins, peanut bars, juice and tea and coffee. We resume hoping to see the tiger, but again, nothing. We return to the lodge for lunch and relax for a moment before the next safari. In the afternoon we visit another area, but nothing there either. Warning calls and footprints, nothing more. In the evening, we go straight to our room for a warming shower and to prepare for dinner. We warm up in front of the fireplace and shortly afterwards hear a warning call and immediately go outside. A tiger is nearby, but we cannot see it. We hear the roar, however. On our final morning at Bandhavgarh Jungle Lodge, we take a stroll and hear tiger roars but see no felines, only stunning birds that almost seem to be posing for us. We get our lunchbox for the upcoming 5-hour trip and get ready to say goodbye. We're both glad and slightly sad since this lodge made us feel at home. Everyone was so kind and capable of going above and beyond to demonstrate how much they cared about what they do. Finally, we arrive at the other lodge, and although it is the twin of the previous one, the effect is entirely different. We get a warm welcome, but the welcome received in the other lodge, it is unlike anything we have typically encountered while traveling. They suggest going on a guided stroll to the river. We happily agree, needing to move around a little after a long journey. After dinner, it's time to retire. At 6:30 a.m. we are ready to leave for a new safari. This time the lodge only prepares a picnic breakfast for us, but they don't give us blankets or something to keep us warm. Not even water. The driver is also surprised and lends us 2 blankets he has in the car. We start our 5th safari, in the mucky area. We see from a distance and in the haze, a tiger chasing prey, all too fast. In the afternoon our last safari awaits us. For quite some time we wander alone, without encountering any other jeeps. We wonder whether this is good or bad, but it doesn't take us long to realize that it is a great blessing. We proceed slowly and suddenly. We see her. There, in front of us. A female tiger in all her glory. She walks down the road coming toward us, with a very quiet but determined step. She stops from time to time, our jeep keeps backing up, until the tiger changes direction after seeing a herd of fawns. She is magnificent and arouses a mixture of emotions in us, joy, fascination, excitement, and a hint of fear. We change the area and this time we see a male crossing the road, also with a slow and confident pace. The return to the lodge marks not only the end of the day, but also the end of our safari in this magnificent territory. Our flight from Jabalpur to Delhi is on time. After landing we go directly to the hotel where we dine and sleep a few hours before embarking on the return flight. Our experience has been exciting. India is an extremely vast country that takes a lot of time to visit considering the distances and roads. Like every adventure, it's not for everyone and requires a good dose of adaptive spirit. In general, in lodges there are no problems, they are clean and comfortable. It is important to understand the context in which you are and the priorities of the trip. During transfers, finding clean reusable bathrooms can really be a challenge. Our advice is to clarify with the driver the need to stop more often, even for a few minutes, so that you have more chances of finding a clean bathroom. The food is always more or less the same, but the quality changes radically. Especially during transfers, we gave up eating certain dishes because of the appearance and smell. It is recommended to bring some bars or some snacks. We are not able to recommend a particular agency, even the one we chose did not surprise us. We had to explain repeatedly what we didn't want, and despite this, they always tried to sell us what they wanted. Regarding safety, we had no problems. Certainly it is always better to be accompanied by a guide. Personally, we do not recommend driving. The driving style is definitely dangerous. The rules of the roads are, at best, optional. If we were to reorganize this trip, we would change transfers between one country and another. It is often possible to travel by plane and this saves time. From our point of view, visiting several parks to see a tiger does not increase the chances, so it is advisable to stay in the same area for several days, saving time and energy. Without a doubt the best lodge visited is the Bandhavgarh Jungle Lodge. Find the link in the description below. The climate in December is rather humid and cold. Keep in mind that safari usually starts early in the morning and can end after sunset. You always travel in jeeps without a roof, and so the air increases the feeling of cold. Fatigue in this sense does not help. Thanks for reviving this trip with us, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and follow us on Instagram for real-time updates on our experiences.